G-Day, people! This is Sharpino here, welcoming you guys to Season 2 of the PMC League. So, as you guys know, I am the coach on the Sydney Krookodiles. Sharpino here, just discussing to you guys that on August 13th we had the draft for the league. We all picked our teams. There's 16 teams, so there's a bigger league in this time around. And also the fact that we've got a lot more competitors means there's obviously going to be a lot more competition and a lot more better players. So we really got to get our game on, because in the first season of the PMC, if you guys haven't checked it out, all my videos will be in the Sydney Krookodiles draft list playlist. We managed to walk out with a 5-5, which is good, but we could obviously do better. I mean, neutral is better than negative, but a positive is better than a neutral. So, you know, we've got to pick up our game here. So, I'm excited because, as you guys may or may not know, I joined 2 leagues after the PMC, and both of them just was a blowout. So, that kind of sucked, but you know what? It is what it is. I can't really do much about it, other than try to improve on the situation, try to rise above it, you know, and just move on to bigger and better things. And what better way to do it than with a PMC league? So I'm excited because I don't get to do a lot of Wi-Fi battling. Now, a lot of you guys may be saying, well, Chris or Sharpino, you know, because my name's Chris or whatever, Chris or Sharpino, you know, why don't you do some Wi-Fi battles on your channel? Well, to be honest, I don't prefer battling. I prefer doing Let's Plays, and like, I don't mind leagues because leagues is more constructive. I'd say more circulated than doing random battles, because I just prefer this kind of deal. Like, I prefer to doing one-on-one, and the fact that you use a power save, I can obviously make my Pokemon as I see fit. Now, if you guys don't like the fact that I use power saves, I do apologize, but I do use it because I don't battle much. But at the same time, whenever I go to tournaments or anything, I actually go ahead and use the power save. So, like, this kind of deal with the league, this is when I use the power save. So we did have the draft, as you can see. If you guys don't know, go ahead and subscribe to the PMC channel. Link to that will be in the description down below. To make sure you stay in tune with not just myself, but to all my other fellow competitors, including the Bird, J-Specs. So the Bird is the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have Cloud, who's the coach of the Jersey Wobbles, which, funnily enough, we finally get to battle each other in this league here. But enough with all the bullshit. So let me quickly explain to you guys exactly how this works. So the PMC follows a point tier system. So a lot of leagues follow the Smogon tiering system, where they have 3 picks from OU, 3 picks from UU, 3 picks from PU and NU, and so forth. But this one, they actually, the same system we used, but there's just one slight difference. So I'll explain to you guys, if you guys don't know what a point system is, or the point system is, basically all Pokemon are given a tier number. So tier 1 is the highest, sitting at 180 points. So each coach has about a total of 1,000 points together. That is your total spending as a coach. So tier 1 Pokemon are worth 180 points. So they're your best Pokemon. They're the guys up the very top. Then you have tier 2, which is 120 points. The next you have tier 3, which is 100 points. Next you have tier 4. Now this is the difference. Last season I had it at 80 points. This season I put it at 60 points. It works for me. Tier 5 is worth 40 points. So tier 5 obviously being the lowest rank of them all. But every team gets a free Mega. Now however, some Megas are classed at a lower tier. So, for example, tier 1 Megas like Mega Sableye and other Megas that are very up there, they will be given to you for free. But if you choose a lower tier Mega, you actually get points back, because a Mega is given to you for free. But if you choose a lower tier Mega, you can actually go ahead and actually give points back, so you can spend it on more, say, tier 2 or tier 3 Pokemon. So that actually will work out for you. And if you franchise a Pokemon, you lose 40 points off the bat. Now, if you don't know what franchising means, franchising means that you, from Season 1, if there's a Pokemon in your team that you want to bring over to Season 2, you can franchise that Pokemon. The thing is, it's going to cost you 40 points. So that can come back to bite you, especially when it comes towards you having a lower spending limit to get other Pokemon. So you may not be able to get as much, say, Tier 2 Pokemon as the next coach because of those 40 points. So now we've got the point tier system out of the way, let's go ahead and discuss to you guys what the Sydney Krookodiles has drafted. So, choice number 1. Now, I decided to franchise a Pokemon myself. only because I felt this Pokemon was just too good to give away. Now, three other coaches were going to franchise, but one of them changed their mind. The Bird kind of let go of Kieran Black, which I mean, I'm a bit skeptical about that, but you know what? It's his decision. He said he wants to try and play with new Pokemon, that's fine. But I just felt this Pokemon was just too good to give away. So without further ado, allow me to introduce to you the first member of the Sydney Krookodiles, and that is my bravest bird friend, Talonflame. The Talonflame, as you guys know, very powerful Pokemon. Obviously, let's go run through a few things about Talonflame. So obviously its weaknesses, 4 times weak to ground, so Stealth Rock is definitely the main issue. Electric, water, and ground if I roost. Base stats, its greatest stat is its speed. It has 126 base speed points, so it's pretty fast. One of the fastest Pokemon, if I do say so myself. I believe the fastest Pokemon is, well, besides Ubers. Let's see, we've got Crobat and Alakazam that are pretty fast. Like, they're very up there. Even Weavile follows suit, which Weavile is also franchised. So, I mean, you've got a lot of different, Pokemon that rank up higher in the speed there. So what's good about Talonflame? Well, Brave Bird, and what was that? Oh yeah, more Brave Bird. So obviously having the Gale Wind's priority for moves like Roost, Acrobatics, Brave Bird, and Tailwind obviously leads segue for other ways for your Pokemon to move forward. So obviously the fact that Flying type gets I would say a priority in this here can do a lot, especially if I'm not want to run a speed variant Talonflame. I could run an Adamant, and I can get away with it because of the Gale Wind's priority. Obviously the downside of that is that, of course, if I don't use a flying type move and I play Adamant, I have to rely on the fact that my opponent is mainly speed boosted. So I have to play Talonflame like a standard Talonflame with Adamant, but that doesn't change the fact I can change up a set. Now, I know in Season 1, when I played Talonflame, we didn't exactly use it differently. We just kept it the same set throughout the entire thing. The only thing that probably changed was one move to the Wisp and Sword Stance. That's probably it. But I've got some good advice from the Bird. I won't tell you guys exactly what it is, but we could be a bit experimental with this Talonflame in this season, and we'll see how that goes. So that was the franchise choice. So that cost me 40 points right off the bat, and it's tier 1 Pokemon, so that already cost me 220 points off the bat. So now we're going to look at our next Pokemon. Now, this next Pokemon is another familiar face from the last season, and I am happy to welcome back to the Sydney Krookodiles Mega Sableye. Now, Mega Sableye is a terrific Pokemon. Its only weakness is Fairy, so I mean, it's good that they've only got one weakness. Its Mega Stats is it does have base 125 defense and 115 special defense. So this works out for us because we could run this either a physical wall or a special defensive wall. Now, a lot of people know the special defensive, the bold set with Calm Mind, Dark Pulse, Will Wisp and Cover. That's standard. A standard Mega Sableye, but you can run it a few different ways. I've watched A-Drive play with Mega Sableye on his team for the UCL, I believe, last year, and he actually played it very differently. He had moves like Metal Burst, he had the Elemental Punches on it, had it with Fake Out. It's a little bit different, but you know what? It could just work. So I mean, we do have a bit of fun with that. It's obviously Prankster in normal form. I mean, that's probably just standard, Sableye. So we can get priority on stat moves, even Mega Evolving on that turn. So if we wanted to get a Will-O-Wisp off, or we want to get a Calm Mind off, or some sort of stat move, we could do that very easily with the fact that we do have the priority on the stat moves. And the fact that it's Magic Bounce, well, it just prevents stats and hazards. So, it's good because if we're anticipating a stat move, we can just go ahead, swap in on the Mega Sableye, and just bounce right back. Now, the only issue with Mega Sableye that I find is that it can be great setup fodder. Like Chansey, basically any setup Pokemon that doesn't have a great offensive set and needs to set up could be easily set up fodder. And I could say the biggest weaknesses of Mega Sableye would be Pokemon like Mega Charizard X. What else? Basically anything that would be able to just special attack through. So even Fairy types would be an issue, but of course it's a weakness. So the fact that Mega Sableye and Talonflame I got back in Season 1, I was pretty happy with that because they're Pokemon I'm very familiar with. So, having those Pokemon back just means I'm working with something I'm familiar with. Now we move on to choice number 3. Now choice number 3 is a new member of the Sydney Krookodiles, and I thought what better Pokemon to add to this team here than someone that I feel should be on the team. So without further ado, choice number 3 for Sydney Krookodiles is the mascot himself, Krookodile. Krookodile, as a very powerful Pokemon, is Dark Ground type. Does have quite a few weaknesses looking at it. I mean, We've got Fighting, Water, Ice, Fairy, Grass, and Bug. That's 6 weaknesses. That's a lot of weakness. However, its base attack is 117, its HP is 95, its speed is 92. So it has a lot of good stats to make it a very heavy offensive hitter. It does pack Intimidate to weaken physical threats, so if we need to really sacrifice it, if we really need to, we can use Intimidate to kind of start things off. Plus it can also learn Rock, so we could make it a defensive variant. Even though its defense is not the greatest, but we can build it Krookodiles to make it defensive, but that's just for another day. And the fact that it has Moxie, it could be a potential sleeper. So we can run it with Scarf, or we could bluff the Scarf and use things like Life Orb and Expert Belt just to keep our opponents guessing. Because base speed 92 is pretty high, so we could even run off with the fact that it's a lot faster than a lot of the other Pokemon. Most Pokemon generally 80 or 90, but we're 2 points ahead of their standard 90 base speed set. Obviously the only issues, like I said, is the fact that we do have a lot of weaknesses that we do need to take into account. It does answer well for Talonflame's electric weakness, plus we've got a few electric weaknesses on the team, but I'll explain that as we go along. So it does take away some of that priority for, say, Volt Switch to come through, because now we have a ground Pokemon. The problem we had on our last season's team was the fact that we had no no electric immunity, so every team that we went up against were able to bring Volt Switch freely because it was like there's no repercussions. So that is going to be our choice 3. Now we move on to choice 4, and choice 4 is another new Pokemon, and a lot of people were really asking me for this Pokemon. So choice number 4, choice number 4 for our team is going to be Uxie. One of the legendary 3 Pokemon from Sinnoh, Uxie here. Only weaknesses that it has is Dark Ghost and Bug, standard psychic weaknesses. Its base stats is insane. Its defense and special defense is 130. Holy fuck. So that and the fact it gets a variety of move pools, we could make a Stealth Rock as well, another potential reason to use it. But basically, Levitate allows for some ground immunity, which helps out with some of our ground weaknesses in our team. And defensive wall, so you know what, we could make a special defensive, we could make a physical defensive, because its defenses are exactly the same. So we could build it to suit our team's needs based off where we feel like our weakest points are. So I feel like Uxie is going to be an interesting Pokemon because I've seen a lot of people use it, and like I said, like Mew and Celebi, not like Celebi, but like Mew, all the legends, besides Uxie being the most defensive of the 3 legends of Sinnoh, it does get a good variety of move pools, so we could build it differently as well. We could make it physical, we could make it special, it just depends. But I'm really looking forward to using Uxie because I don't mind a bit of bulk to the team. Like last season we had Mega Sableye, we had Jellicent, we had Metagross, Tyranitar. Obviously some good Pokemon, but as we go along, we're going to learn that sometimes we've got to change just to, try to just expand ourselves. Aside the fact that I got my Mega and my Talonflame, we can try and experiment with different Pokemon. So that is our 4th Pokemon. Now we move on to our 5th Pokemon, and I would say this is the sharpest pick I could pick for myself. So choice number 5 on this team here is going to be Bisharp. Bisharp obviously being a Steel Dark type, love those Dark types, keep them coming. Only issues is it has a 4 times weakness to Fighting, Ground, or Ground Fire just neutral hit. But its base attack is 125, and the fact it gets access to Sucker Punch, holy shit! It is a terrific offensive hitter. However, that doesn't mean that we can't run it as a defensive one. I've actually ran it a few times on friendly battles where I run it as a special defensive ball, and it actually works well, especially when we go up against fairy types, because a lot of people expect Bisharp to be just offensive, attack, speed invested, no HP investment. And it actually works out for us because we can actually take one hit and then go flying ahead and then get rid of it. So it works out for us. Defiant as its ability, well, it's great for Intimidators and Defoggers, so we're anticipating Defog and Intimidate coming through. We do have that Defiant boost that we can rely on Bisharp, so it basically gives us a free boost to pretty much allow us to just fight through. And the fact that we have Psycho Punch, amongst other Pokemon, gives potential for great stat moves like Substitute and Thunder Wave, which we could run on Bisharp there. They're just something a little bit different. A lot of people don't realize the Bisharp actually can learn Thunder Wave and all that. Like I didn't realize until a couple of years back, it was last year, when I saw someone who made it to the high ranks of the Dark Gym Leader, and they showed us that in fact that Bisharp can actually use Thunder Wave. I was like, holy fuck, that's actually pretty cool. So that is going to be our choice number 5. Now we move on to choice number 6, and this Pokemon is a Pokemon I am very fond of. It is my favorite of the Johto legends, And without further ado, I introduce to you member number 6 of the Sydney Krookodiles, and that is Suicune. Suicune, being the water goddess itself, you know, such a powerful Pokemon. It obviously has standard weakness of electric and grass, fair enough. But its defense and special defense are base 115, its HP is 100, speed is 85, and special attack is 90. So, a very powerful Pokemon, if I do say so myself. The fact that we can run this as a defensive or offensive set makes it a lot harder to predict, especially when everyone expects the Subcoon set or the Rest-Coon set. So, we could play off on the advantage of that and, you know, just be a, you know, build it differently, build it to be offensive. We could build it to be defensive and just work with things like, you know, substitute and rest with Sleep Talk or rest with Chesto Berry. We could do a lot of different things, but I love the fact that Suicune is so powerful. Like, it gets access to Substitute and Calm Mind, gets access to a lot of boosting moves there. So I am just loving Suicune so much. That and the fact that we do have a water type. Now, having a look at this here, we do have a lot of weaknesses to a number of things. I mean, it can be physical wall, we have bold sets. But having Suicune does add to our weakness with Krookodiles and Grass, and add to our electrical weakness with Town Plains, which is where we come to our choice number 7. Now we're going to move on to choice number 7, and choice number 7 is a familiar face from Season 1. Let us bring back to the Sydney Krookodiles Dragougie. Dragougie being one of the best dragons to come out of Gen 6, obviously being Poison and Dragon. Dragon, Ice, Ground, and Psychic are its weaknesses, because of course it's 2 weaknesses for its Dragon, 2 weaknesses for its Poison typing. Its special defense is through the roof with 123, and special attack is 97. So this Pokemon I felt was terrific because it answers to a lot of the weaknesses in our team in regards to Suicune and Krookodile's weakness to Grass, and also Suicune and Talon's weakness to Electric. Because Dragon obviously can eat up everything except for that Ice type, but that's where Suicune comes in. So Dragougie and Suicune can be a very good core together because they're both very defensive Pokemon. But you could run Suicune as an offensive and then Dragougie as a bulky defensive mon. The fact that it has adaptability, well, just means it's powerful Dragon and Poison type hits and it's going to pack an extra powerful punch. If I do say that myself. And like I said before with Suicune, Dragougie can also be defensive and offensive. Now, I don't know... Excuse me. Now, I don't know how well an offensive Dragougie will go, only because I do know its base speed isn't the greatest, but we could experiment with it and we could see how we go. And, you know, as we go up against certain teams, we can determine and see where we can work with Dragougie. Now, moving on to choice number 8. Now, this choice was a little bit iffy. A lot of people have a little bit of doubt in this Pokemon, but I thought, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to stick with this Pokemon because I feel like it does have some potential. So without further ado, let us introduce to the Sydney Krookodiles squad, Celebi. So Celebi here is Psychic and Grass type. Weaknesses to Fire, Dark, Ice, Poison, and 4 times Bug weakness. So much like what's his name, Malamar. Does have that weakness. So the only crap thing about this is the fact that we have to treat everyone like they have U-turn, because obviously U-turn's going to blow us the fuck away. But its base stats is 100 points all around the board, so it's actually pretty good. So we can make it, you know, call it base stats all around. We can give it creative with its set and keep the fans guessing what kind of Celebi we're bringing to each match. The fact that it's natural cure, so if anyone tries to use it for Thunder Wave, Poison, Sleep, or whatever, but we can even take advantage of that, and we can set up for rests or something like that with natural cure, because we can rest, swap out, and the rest is gone. Simple as that. And it has its good cleric because it does have moves like Heal Bell, it does have moves like Substitute and Calm Mind, so much like Suicune, we could make a substitute set, but also it gets access to Baton Pass. So we have the potential to set up for Celebi and then swap over to bring in someone else if someone tries to set up on us, which actually works for us, especially with Pokemon like Suicune, which does have natural speed and investment, and, you know, we could actually try and take advantage of that, which actually does work out pretty well for us. So, you know, I can only see good things. Now, a lot of people were like, you know, Celebi's good but it's bad because it does have 4 times bug weakness. Granted, but Pokemon like Hydreigon and Garchomp, they're pretty good as well, and they are pretty high up there as far as, you know, their bulk and everything else. So I wouldn't say that Celebi is terrible because it has a 4 times weakness. It just means that when we play with Celebi, we just have to be extra careful when it comes to bringing out Celebi on certain Pokemon, especially when we're expecting it U-turn. So now we bring ourselves to the 9th selection for our team, Now, I looked at a team and realized we don't have any spinners. We need some spinners to protect that Talonflame. Now, I was going to pick Cryogonal, but the Orlando Riolos took Cryogonal for me, and I was like, no! Cryogonal, no! And I was so distraught because I was going to use Cryogonal. I was like, I love Cryogonal because I didn't realize how good Cryogonal was until the late end of the season of Season 1. So, to take a place with Cryogonal, I just said to the coach of the Riolos, treat her well, or I will get it back Season 3 and I'll pay you back with it. So, for choice number 9, I believe, we do have Armaldo. Now, Armaldo being a Bug Rock type, it is weak to Rock, Water, and Steel, but that's only quite a few weaknesses. Its defenses are insane. Its physical defense is 100, and its attack is 125. I didn't realize how strong Armaldo's attack was. I really had no idea. I just thought it was a really bulky mon, like defensive. You can make like HP, defense, make a physical wall, have rapid spin, have stealth rocks, and you're good to go. So it's another stealth rock user, which is good. It does get access to Bell Armor, which means no crits, which means no shenanigans when it comes to bringing out Armaldo. Does get access to moves like knockoff, so we could use that to, I would say, get initiative on our Pokemon if they're expecting a switch, or if they're expecting a stealth rock, and they bring their magic bouncer, we go for knockoff. Ooh. But yeah, and then it's a spin for hazards and can be defensive walls, so Armaldo does seem like a pretty good choice. We could also do some funny things. We can do set up Armaldos. You're going to have some fun with it. You know, we can have a lot of fun with this. Because just to remind you guys, this is a competitive league, but it's also for fun. So please don't ruin it with bullshit and everything else, because it's going to ruin it for everyone else. I mean, we're just a couple of people that love to play Pokemon. And you know what? I don't play League every day, and I don't want to be tarnished by the fact someone's getting a bit too, I would say, dedicated to the team. Which I don't mind passion. I don't mind that. But I don't like spite and hate and crying and bitching and all that. Which, you know what? I'm going to be laughing because, you know what, I'm going to be bitching one of these matches when I get hacked or something like that, but I have to understand, it's all part of the game, it's all for fun, we have to move along. Okay, so now we move ourselves on to choice number 10. Now this choice, a lot of people, another curveball, it was like, whoa, why would you pick this Pokemon when you have Talonflame? Well, I'm going to explain it to you right now. So choice number 10 for the Sydney Krookodiles, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome to the team, Swallow! So Swallow, another flying type Pokemon, rock, ice, and electric as its weaknesses, so kind of like Talonflame, but not as much. It's based at 125 in speed and 85 attack. Now, the attack doesn't sound too bad, but it has guts, and it hits like a motherfucking truck when it comes through with that. Facade guts, oh boy, stand back. It does get access to Defog and is another offensive hitter, so the reason why I chose Swallow alongside Talonflame is the fact that I wanted to have another Hazard River, and at that point, Swallow seemed to be one of the last few choices I wanted to have for Tavian. Now, I could go for, I was going to pick Shiftry, but I didn't want to have another 4 times bug weak Pokemon on the team, and I didn't want to have another weakness of Fairy, because we do have the Mega, and I don't want to give up too much prerogative for the fact that, you know, Swallow, I mean, it's a lot faster than Shiftry, and the fact that it does get moves like Facade, Brave Bird. Brave Bird? Wait, I don't think it gets access to Brave Bird, but it does get access to a lot of strong moves, like Facade with Guts. So, I mean, we could run it so many. Well, I mean, it's really only one way to run it, but I mean, we could be creative and try some different things with it. It does get access to Quick Attack, so we can get the sneak priority when they don't expect it. But yeah, like I feel like Swallow could be a good choice. Everyone's like, you know, why would you pick Talonflame and Swallow? You know, that's just two electric weakness in your team. That's true, but like I said, we need another spinner on the team aside from Armaldo, because I don't want to have to bring Armaldo to every battle if I bring Talonflame, because once I set up rocks on Talonflame, it loses half its health, or 49% health as soon as it comes in, and I don't want that to always happen. The best part about Swallow is the fact that whenever they expect us to go for Protect, they expect us to go for a Return or a Facade, and they're bringing a defensive one, we can just go for Default. So it's always going to be that initiative where we can just say, you know what, let's just go for Default, let's let them swap in them on, and then we can swap out. But as long as we get rid of the hazards, we're good to go. So Swallow, I feel like it's a good choice. If you don't agree with me, I'm sorry, but this is just how I feel, and this is how, at this time, I was thinking that would be the best choice. And now, we bring ourselves to the final choice. Now this Pokemon was on the Cleveland Cavaliers team in the last season, and he used it pretty well. I saw its potential, and then I looked at my team and realised, you know what, we don't have an answer for fairies. And we really need an answer for fairies. So for the final pick for the Sydney Krookodiles, let me introduce you to a big, smelly, trashy piece of, I just don't say that, friend Garbodor. Garbodor, ladies and gentlemen. So Garbodor is obviously weak to psychic ground, standing psychic weaknesses. Its base attack is 95, but all the stats are relatively close to each other. So its HP, all its defenses, and everything else are all within the same line of each other. So it isn't too bad because, again, we can kind of, you know, make some use of it. We can make it a special variant. We can go as Choice Scarf if we really wanted to, or we can make it just a bulky Garbodor just to take some hints. Now, its 3 abilities are not terrible. You have Stench that causes flinches. You have Aftermath that can lead to potential kills and wants to kill us. And then you have Weak Armor, which can lead to late game sweeps if we make it a jolly nature, Garbodor, which can be good if we can take some hits and boost our speed to move along and actually outspeed someone, which can be good late game, like I said. Especially when you have moves like Gunshot and Drain Punch and all that, it can work out pretty well. And then the fact it's Fairy Killer, like I said, is the fact that we do need an answer to fairies. We actually don't have one. I mean, we do have Bisharp, but Bisharp is Bisharp is Steel and Dark, so it doesn't exactly resist the fairy typing. But I can answer the fairies. So now I've got 2 answers to fairies. I have Garbodor and I have the Bisharp and the Garbodor. But I mean, everyone's saying, you know what, like Talonflame and Swallow are actually pretty good answers to fairies as well. But you know what? I just like to have my options, especially when it comes to something as important as a league like this. I want to try to do my best. I want to try to get a positive score for once, which actually would be a nice segue for it. We did fairly well in Season 1, going 5-5, which, like again, I'm not complaining about it. But like I said, make sure you subscribe to the PMC channel. Like I said, links to the channel will be in the description down below. So not only will you support me, but you can also support myself and all the other coaches. Check out their channels, subscribe to their channels, because I'm sure they will appreciate your support. So I can only hope the first round we are actually going up against the Commissioner himself, J-Specs. We're going against the Hamden High Dragon. Now, his team is actually pretty scary, if I do say so myself. So we've got some prepping to do, so stay tuned for the team builder, which will be out on Saturday. And then we have the actual battle that comes out every Sunday. So team builds will be out Saturdays, and then the actual battles will be on Sunday. That's just how we're going to keep things going, and just how we're going to keep things going. So twice. So stay tuned for that. Get behind the coach of the Sydney Krookodiles, Sharpino here, your coach, saying, hopefully we'll get a good win. Hopefully we do a lot better, like I said, than the first season, and let's hope for a great, fun new league. So until next time I see you guys, stay safe, stay sharp, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later!